Jeff, we're here today to talk about the data center you built out in your central office. But before we get into those project details, can you tell us a little bit about ITS?
Yeah, Mark, ITS is originally a telephone company that's been in Indiantown, Florida for over 80 years. We are one of the original 13 telcos in the state of Florida. We're located about 30 miles inland from the coast. Our data center is 44 feet above sea level, which is the highest elevation in South Florida. As an ILEC, we have about 313 square miles that we service for residential and commercial customers. And then we've also expanded the company as a CLEC, where we support our metro, our business customers on the other side of the county.
So Jeff, you have this ITS Telecom company and you have ITS Fiber company. They both provide services to your customer base, but what's the difference between the two? What does ITS Telecom provide in the way of services versus ITS Fiber?
ITS Telecom is providing more of your residential telephone and internet services more residentially, whereas ITS Fiber is providing the services to our metro customers.
Tell me a little bit about your role in the company.
I was brought on to help establish the data center for our co-location services and our cloud offering in the data center, and to also oversee the IT operations of the department.
So Jeff, we're here today really to talk about the data center that you built out in your central office. But so tell me, what happened that freed up space and allowed you to build out a data center in your central office?
Well, as technology changes, one of the things that we experienced was we upgraded our phone switch to a soft switch, and that freed up a little over 1,000 square feet in our central office. So we looked to see what we could do with that space.
Why did you decide to build a data center? What was the need? I mean, why didn't you use it for some other purpose?
Well, we saw it as an opportunity to be able to broaden our service offering to our customers. We're able to provide disaster recovery and co-location services, and also cloud hosting services for servers and server backup.
What makes ITS Fiber's central office location ideal for a disaster recovery site?
Well, where we're located in the state, we are 30 miles inland from the coast. And our data center is 44 feet above sea level, which is the highest elevation in South Florida.
What was the next step in your evaluation process?
Well, we decided that we needed to perform a site survey to see if our current infrastructure could support the capacity of the new data center.
What kind of infrastructure do you need to support the data center?
Well, we would need adequate power, UPS, backup, generator.
Okay, so utility service, generator, UPS, what about air conditioning?
Air conditioning was important as well. We wanted to make sure that we could contain that heat and not have the mixing of the cold and hot air in the same room.
What design were you looking for in the infrastructure supporting your data center environment?
Well, we were looking to appeal to the broadest customer base that we could. So we knew that it was important to look at redundancy. So we were looking at a 2N UPS, 2N generator, and an N+1 HVAC system.
That's a highly resilient data center design. I bet that appeals to a lot of customers. Let's talk about the security. I know I've seen a lot of security around your data center. Tell us about the security systems that you installed.
Well, with security, one, you have to have monitoring. So we added multiple layers of surveillance, both on the front and rear of the cabinets, as well as a different system to support the room itself. We also added in a man trap. We added in door access controls that utilize biometrics, PIN codes, as well as HID scanning.
You've upgraded your infrastructure, you've installed security system, and you also mentioned that you built out a network operations center. Tell me about the network operations center.
Well, our network requires 100% uptime. So it was important to us to have a facility staffed with employees that could monitor our fiber optic network, as well as support all of our residential and business customers.
So does the Network Operations Center also monitor the data center in addition to the fiber optic network?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so there's the co-location services and cloud services. Co-location services, what does that service entail for your customers?
Well, for co-location, the customer would bring their hardware and install it in the cabinet, and they would secure their cabinet where they're the only ones that have access to it. And then we would provide them with power and connectivity, redundant power.
So in a co-location environment, they're responsible for their IT equipment, but if I heard you correctly, some of them may want to contract you to provide managed services where you manage their owned gear, IT gear within the racks?
That's right. It would be beneficial to some customers to have somebody close by, in close proximity, where that was knowledgeable of the equipment and that could assist over the phone in that.
So now let's shift gears and focus on the data center build. What was the first step in evaluating whether or not your central office was suitable for a data center?
Well, in looking at the footprint of the room, we had to look and make sure that we had adequate space in front of the cabinets and around them. And we looked at how many cabinets could we fit in that space and whether or not it would make sense from a business standpoint.
So how many cabinets did you install?
We went with a design where we added 20 available cabinets for co-location, both standard cabinets as well as some wide cabinets for the applications where they were necessary.
And how were those rows or racks of cabinets configured within your space?
In evaluating the space, we saw that we could fit in that space 20 racks, 10 per row, with a hot aisle containment pod.
Jeff, are there any other benefits to this hot aisle containment pod that you installed?
This design is modular, and it allows you to grow and scale out if you have the room in your facility. With containing the hot air in the aisle, it allows us to keep the ambient room temperature at about 75, 76 degrees, which is more comfortable and more efficient on our energy.
What kind of density were you designing to accommodate within those racks?
We were looking for those 20 racks, we were looking at a 5 kW per rack with an overall 100 kW space.
So what led you to determine 5 kW a rack versus 10 kW a rack?
Well, looking more at it, we looked at what would the average be. So on average, we're seeing that most cabinets with your standard hardware would run somewhere around 3 kW. And then we have one of our racks with up to 14 kW.
How long does it take to build out a data center environment?
Well, with this pod style installation, in a previous data center, I was able to retrofit the data center with the hacks in as little as 30 days. With the CO and having to convert the back-end infrastructure, it was up to 6 months.
What kind of costs were you looking at to build this data center design?
Well, depending on what's viewed as project costs, anywhere from $1 million to $1.5 million.
Jeff, we've covered a lot of ground here today.
Thank you, Mark. We take a lot of pride in what we do and what we have to offer, and our goal is to provide services that are noticeably better, and I think that we've achieved that goal in this data center design.
Jeff, thank you. I really appreciate your time. It was great talking to you and hearing about your data center build and what ITS Fiber is doing for its customers.
Thank you, Mark.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.